That's better. Welcome to the Criterion Connection. I'm Wade.
And I'm Scott.
And we're here to talk about a Charlie Chaplin film. Charles Chaplin. Old Chuck.
Chuck Chap.
Chuck Chap.
Chucky Chap in the house.
We're doing 1936, Modern Times. You can ask Scott. I thought we did this movie already. I thought we did a lot of Charlie Chaplin.
You said, and I quote, I thought we did more than one of these.
I know we did City Lights. I think the other one I'm thinking of is The Kid. I think that's what I'm thinking of. I might be entirely wrong here, but we're here to do Modern Times, starring old Chuck.
Starring, written, directed, composed the music for.
I did not know he composed his own music, which is an impressive thing in this film because the score is just as much of a character as the Tramp is. And
I mean, given the era, it's not surprising, but it's still very well done, even compared to other films of the era.
It's little things like even like when he tightens a bolt or whatever, it makes a little sound. It's just like when he's all gleefully dancing throughout the factory, it matches it.
You mean having a nervous breakdown?
Yes, I should say
that was the happiest nervous breakdown I ever saw.
Yeah, but it's from 1936. It's right before we enter World War II. Way before, actually. I think World War II is actually starting around this time. And the height of the communist fear.
Yeah, and that gets played up a little bit in this movie.
A little bit. It's actually banned in Nazi Germany.
What? What?
Yeah, I know. It's apparently it's got a case of the communists.
I think they banned it because they knew Charlie Chaplin did the little mustache a little better than their leader. But that's just me.
Yeah.
What do I know?
Yeah, so he plays this Charlie Chaplin as the Tramp, his iconic character, and it's
essentially the story of a man going through the different stages of work in that era.
So
he starts out with a job, and then the job takes its toll on him.
Takes advantage of him.
It takes advantage of him and takes its mental toll on him to the point where he goes nuts, has a nervous breakdown. He gets fixed. He then ends up inadvertently protesting at some point during a union strike.
He gets in a relationship.
Yeah.
He
goes to jail.
He tries to find more jobs, and it's one of those things like he basically, to sum it up, became an adult.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things was how much he enjoyed, like once he got out of jail, he was trying to get back into jail because and
real life sucks.
And the funny thing is it's interesting how a movie from 1936 is so relevant today.
I was going to say that I feel like this is one of the most perfectly named movies.
Yes.
Because Modern Times, it is literally, to me, timeless. It's contemporary. Basically from the Industrial Revolution onward to now, I feel like any era could relate to this film.
Yeah.
Especially like American with, the industrialization, capitalism, just basically that you're a worker drone. You just got to work your 40 hours so you can pay your bills, enjoy your weekend because then you have to go back to work. Like that stuff of just like that existential, like,
dread.
Mundaneness, dread.
I would say dread. See, the 90s it was monotony because it was like back in the 90s it was all like, oh my god, it's the worst thing in the world. I have a steady job that's a little boring. Nowadays it's like I would kill for that job.
Yeah.
Like I'm waiting. I'm surprised it hasn't happened. I'm surprised we haven't gotten the modern lens of like Office Space.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for Office Space backlash.
This is the proto Office Space.
But if I can piggyback off what you said, the one scene that really made me look at this in a modern lens, because if you just look at it from the visuals and the things, like it might seem like, oh, this is outdated, but when you really get into like the meat of what it's about, it's very it's like you said, timeless. You just apply the mentalities and the ideas to modern times.
Even
but what made me think of that, of like the whole modern thing, is the scene where the guy comes with the machine and he's trying to sell him the feeder machine, whatever it was called. That's with the idea of if you give them this machine, it'll feed your employees while they're working, so they don't have to take a lunch break. They can eat their lunch and work. And it made me think of Amazon factories and the pee bottles.
Mm-hmm.
How everyone's talking about how, like, you'll get fired if you go to the bathroom and people are peeing in bottles. It's not a joke. It's not funny. It's just a way of life that seems to be okay because, hey, a guy with billions of dollars is running it, so I guess it's okay.
And it's also the idea of technology advancing before humans can adapt. Like,
yes.
Do we really need that machine to feed you while... Because the Rockefellers and all that are going to think, oh, well, we could probably use that to make people's lives better. They don't have to feed themselves. They can have a machine feed them. Like, It's just like, do we really need that?
And also, what were they working on when he's, like, tightening the things? What even were those? Like, is that enough? Like, there's a part of me that, like, I don't know because it feels like such a pointless thing. Is that a statement that I'm not getting because I don't know what was around at the time? Like, for all I know, that could just be there because it was for something of the time and it's not part of what they're talking about.
I just wanted to get back to a simpler time where you have people like that strong man with no shirt.
Yeah, back when
he's working the controls and people that look like us were considered strong.
Yeah.
Sadly, that's not how it is now.
Yeah, and you could just show up without a shirt on. Your boss like, whatever. Just hit the buttons, pull the levers.
Raise the speeds.
Yeah. I will say, this is probably the best portrayal of mental health aid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't do a whole lot, but given the era, hey, you got to take your little victories where you can.
Yeah, it's I mean, it just got great set pieces.
Yeah,
the set design's great. Like the factory itself is so good.
Oh, the fact I remember
him and the gears is just iconic.
I was gonna say I've seen that clip I don't know how many times, and seeing it in context just made it a little more fun.
Yeah.
Than it is just seeing the gears.
Speaking of the factory, I mean, let's talk about probably when I saw the scene, I was like, oh, I can definitely see where Lucille Ball took the idea for like the chocolate factory.
Oh yeah.
The factory going faster and faster, and he's just
the conveyor belt.
The conveyor belt. He just tighten the bolts.
The bolts.
And
I like when he goes crazy and he's just like tightening everything.
Yes.
And then like they get to the point where he runs out of the factory and you see the lady and she has the two buttons like where her boobs are.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're not gonna do it. They don't. But I was like, he's not gonna.
Is this the first time in cinema that they have cocaine humor?
I mean, I can't say for certain, but I will say, as I told you when I was watching the movie, if you told me that there's an actual movie of Charlie Chaplin snorting coke, I'd call you a liar
it's
right
not
to
Robert
your face.
Downey Jr. in the 90s.
Yeah, it's the real deal. And it was done very well. I think because bread was a big thing in that scene. There was one scene that really confused me, and I kept harping on it as the movie progressed. It's when him and his girlfriend, they're at the house and they make these sandwiches with like the biggest slices of bread I've ever seen. And I'm like, again, it's one of those things where I don't know if it's funny because like, was this a thing at the time? I don't know.
I think we were just getting out of the Great Depression as well. So there's a lot of that element to it as well.
Like a little bit more extravagance after all the hoarding.
I will say, you mentioned the girlfriend or the gammon.
Gammon? I read it as gammon or gammon.
Pauline Goddard is... I feel like this is the Charlie Chaplin show, but also Pauline Goddard is really good in this.
She matches his energy very well.
She holds her weight in this. And even in scenes he's not in, she's like... I don't say a female Charlie Chaplin, but it's more of like she's at the same wavelength.
Right. She's at his level.
And also the same like that earnestness of like you want to get the American dream or just survive in general. And the ending is a good way of just like, well, we're going to walk toward like the sun. We're walking down this road. We don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
That's how freaking real that is.
Yeah, and I also kind of like the idea of how it starts, where it's like he has this job, but he doesn't really care because it's like he has a job because that's just what you're supposed to do. And then as time goes on, he hates it because he has no real reason to do it. And then all of a sudden, this girl comes along, and now he's in love. Once he has a reason, now he's actively looking for it. He's not trying to go back to jail. He's trying to go back to work. And so when he finds out
where he goes back to the factory,
I was gonna say, and then the factory reopens. And then they go right back on strike, I think within the day. Okay.
Yeah.
But it just shows you the contrast and just how important purpose is. Like, you could have one thing, and the only difference is purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that shows right there how much more important things are when there's a real reason. Not just because you're told to, but like it's a real reason that you believe in and you're passionate about.
Yeah.
He has a passion, maybe not for work, but he has a passion for giving her a better life than what she had.
Yeah. Would you recommend this film?
I absolutely would. If you can get past it mostly being silent, I think it's a really fun movie. I think the slapstick and the visual acting from everybody gets the point across when there's no dialogue or like little like word cards. I think you don't, as long as you're paying attention, you won't miss a thing. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. I would even go so far as to say I would consider this baby's first silent film. Yeah. I would say this is a great one to dip your toes into if you're trying to dip your toes into silent film.
Not Caligari?
I'm not going to say no on that one, but I think this one's really good because it kind of eases you in. There's a little bit of, I wouldn't say dialogue, but there's like little bits of like actual line delivery to kind of like ease you in.
Funny enough, the factory owner or the boss or CEO or whatever, they're the ones that talk.
Yeah.
But no one else can.
That's not true. At the end.
At the end, that's right. At the end, there's someone that talks. But like in the factory, only like one really person talked.
Yeah.
And it was the boss.
Yeah.
Because he's the only one that is allowed to have a voice.
And like we said, it's a story as old as time. I think
life sucks.
I will say this, as long as you're not a rich jerk, you'll get something out of this. I think it's a good time.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
I'll also agree. I will also recommend it. I think Charlie Chaplin. There's people that are not gonna be like, it's not a knee slapper and not laugh out loud, but it's because time has passed by. But I still find it very humorous and just like he's very ahead of his time in physical comedy. I think I said that for like the previous movies we've done for this show.
He's like a one-man stooge.
Yeah. Can we get the Three Stooges on the Criterion Collection, please?
Oh, I'd love that.
Shemp's the best one.
Anyway, you know what? That'll be the first three-way review we do.
Yes. And we'll get Joe. Yeah, we'll get Joe here, and we'll be the real Three Stooges on this channel. So that's our thoughts.
Be the Three Stupids.
The Three Stupids. That's our thoughts on modern times. Let us know in the comments section below what you think about the film. There's a couple more Charlie Chaplin films we got, like Gold Rush and Great Dictator and stuff like that.
And silent movies too that aren't Charlie Chaplin. Contrary to popular belief about me, they're not my favorite, but I do actually enjoy silent films. So if you ever want to see me back on here doing one of these, a silent film, not the worst place to start if you want to get me back. But you don't, so that's fine.
Yeah, I'll give you a fast bender. You don't even know what I'm talking about, but
I don't care.
I know. Work sucks. Anyway, so let us know in the comment section below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Follow us on Instagram, Condish Productions. Follow us on Letterboxd, which is just search Criterion Connection, and you'll see us. We have about 260 some movies logged on our list. See how many of you've watched. Until next time, I'm Wade.
I'm Scott.
And we'll see you later. Get back to work. Get back to work.